Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot, and welcome to today's reading. So, looking into kind of where we're coming after yesterday's reading, remember we saw there was a lot of intensity coming from them. A lot of that dreamy feeling kept coming out that seems like it's associated with this moon. And a lot of messages too, not being sure exactly what to do next. But remember, they're being impacted by this energy of wanting to move forward, and they feel contained, ready to like move forward in a way they probably actually aren't quite ready for yet. But there's definitely that restlessness. And remember in the extended yesterday, we saw it was the place where the thing that they need to be able to do in order to move forward, the place where they're not ready. It's something that they need to let go of. So it's not necessarily something that happens all at once. So let's go ahead and jump back in and understand a little bit more of what it is that you need to know about this union, and just kind of see what today's energy looks like. So it's a general reading as always. General reading for this collective won't resonate with everybody, shouldn't resonate with everyone, but if it does resonate with you, think about liking, subscribing, maybe look at some of the other videos because they are all very, very much connected. And so I'm going to use this one as my main deck. All right. So we'll get started, and we're looking first at that energetic and emotional backdrop, focusing especially on the energy that's happening between the two of you right now. So some of this energy will, of course, go beyond what's happening with the two of you. So some of it will be in that emotional and energetic backdrop, could look a little bit different. We've got the Hanged Man again with the new perspectives. Remember, if you saw yesterday's reading, there is a lot of opportunity for new perspectives at this point. New perspectives can come in. They are brewing, but not here yet. That's kind of what wanted to come through. We also have the Knight of Swords. So this is a little bit different, but not completely from what we've seen. This is that sense of observing. And so in your person's case, it feels like it comes through a little bit more. They're probably observing a little bit more than they're moving forward. So we've got the Fool that comes out here in the reverse to kind of substantiate that. So it isn't so much that they don't have momentum to go forward or wouldn't like to have momentum to go forward. We saw that they feel contained, like they're ready to move forward. But they are not actually ready to go. This belies the fact that they're not really ready to move forward. And so even though you may see them come all the way up to the edge of maybe like they get as far as calling you, some of them will get as far as calling you or getting in touch with you, but then you're going to have, or you'll get into the conversation and they're going to come back from the edge when it comes to actually saying what they came to say. And you're going to be able to sense that. So there's a little bit of a resistance, a little bit of a hesitation kind of energy there. Eight of Swords in the reverse. We've seen some of this. I think we saw a lot of this one in the extended yesterday, but this is that feeling of trying to decide if they're thinking about things right. They don't want to make a mistake. So they feel like they've made a mistake in the past. There's a desire to come forth and a tendency to want to do that. There's a tendency to move forward, but they're concerned about the obligation that it causes. That's what wants to come out here. And this is feeling like a lot of their energy, but you may be feeling the shadows of it as well. Basically, we saw yesterday, they put you up on a pedestal, and there's something about that makes it very difficult then for them to approach you. So they have a hard time moving your direction or being, some of you are in contact. And so it's not so much that you can't get in contact. But once they're there, they have a really hard time actually getting truly honest or vulnerable to a level that is comfortable for you, and then there are plenty of you where there's just not been any communication. There's not been any contact. But this is building blocks energy. We talk about the new perspective, and the way that it manifests in the physical world is something new that happens. And I believe it starts with a conversation that might feel a little choppy, might contain that botched apology that we keep hearing about, and yet still sets this is not surprising based on some of the stuff that we've seen. It still may very much set the stage for the progress that needs to unfold. Nine of Chalices, movement toward that wish fulfillment, movement toward that happiness, and almost a gravitation toward it. And the Tower comes out from behind it. So that's the thing, though, about this. There's this enlightenment sort of energy. And I have managed to not use the word enlightenment when talking about this moon really at all. I'm not sure that it puts the right vibe out there, but I feel like it is actually the right word. There's a sense of enlightenment that comes kind of from this moon, but that's not always a pleasant feeling when you have to reconcile it with what you think you know, or the way that you have a tendency to feel. And we know that we've got a situation with your person where they are not ready to let go of something. They know that their life has to change, but they're not ready to let go of something and move toward this happiness just yet. Has a lot to do with the fact that they are not ready to break with the things that are keeping them feeling comfortable and stable here in this environment that they're in. But they do have some awareness that their environment is going to change. They're slow to move toward it, though. With the Knight of Pentacles here in the reverse, this really is a pretty traditional not moving forward, not moving quickly forward, unstable, unsteady sort of thing. Not exactly untrustworthy, although I'm sure that will be true for some people. It's not necessarily what wants to come through there. So we got the Queen of Wands, feeling with the Queen of Wands like they want to do things right this time. So we see this again. So they've got this, I want to do things right. And that's part of what slows them down in moving forward. Also, they want to maintain some stability. So this is the Four of Wands in the reverse. And this is, it kind of speaks of that feeling of the threat that is around them. So there's something that is either, well, I think a little bit of both, a real and perceived threat to your person's way of life or to some things that they deem very important to them. So this is the person that, just as an example, they have a significant other who says, hey, if you disappear, you don't get to see this child again. If you leave me, you're not going to get to see your family again. If you do this thing I don't agree with, I'm not going to let you come to family gatherings anymore. Whatever it is, there's something here they don't want to lose. And remember, they've got something they don't want to let go of. And it might be around some sense of control. So what you'll see in them is a tendency to want to control what they can control. We see that here with the Knight of Wands here in the reverse. And it's a feeling of, I'm going to be able to control this because, and then we saw this again yesterday too, this is their ability to kind of, one of the reasons that you see them being so cavalier about their ability to communicate, at least when you see the beginning of the communication, it seems that way. It's because they know they can get out as quickly as they come in. And so that's kind of the feeling with that Knight of Wands there. It is a feeling that almost perpetuates that. It's that Friday night kind of feeling. And, it's that sort of vibe where anything is possible. But they also will just jump in the car and run if they have to, or get out and run home if they have to. There's this feeling of disconnectedness and an inability to really commit to something, Let's look into the rest of the story. So this is almost a skittish sort of feeling that they happen here, or that they have here. But I'm curious to see what kind of things that come out. So they're feeling skittish, but you also have the advice to watch for them, to watch for them to be not only. Okay, so this skittishness has multiple kind of effects. I feel like it's part of the reason that they almost botched that apology. Even though they are feeling kind of skittish, it's a matter of watching for them to be not only ready to communicate with you, but kind of almost to like throw themselves at you energetically at a moment's notice. That's kind of how I interpreted that moment of clarity that I saw there yesterday, with having a little bit of time to think about it. I said something to that effect in the extended, but I think it's still true now. So communication, if it comes from them, could happen kind of fast. And we see here that they could have a lot on their mind as they're doing that. They also have an ardor about them that feels like it could be very commanding. And we know that they can be very charismatic in addition to that. So here we have the power card, and this is about holding on to power. I was just saying they can be very charismatic, and this is about where that power comes from. So the charisma is big in that. That's a big piece of the power that they hold. The Knight of Wands is that same sort of this. I love how this is so perfect. This one is called the rock star. It's the Knight of Wands. It's the iconic sort of rock star sort of thing. This one does not come down to the level of the normal everyday person. This is much more an elevated view of themselves, something that their ego puts together because otherwise they have to deal with the fact that they feel very scared in some ways. That's the same reason that you'll see, even if you do get into the communication with this person. So you are going to get communication in a lot of cases. A lot of you are going to hear from this person and it's going to seem kind of high strung and sudden, and all of the, you get this sort of difficult to interpret information that comes from them. Part of that is because they are putting on airs, and they do have some things they feel like a need to keep a secret. There's a need for them not to. This is the Justice card, wanting to keep things in balance, but it's got a feeling of not just wanting to keep things in balance, but also wanting to make sure that this is the most controlling Justice card I think I have ever seen. Typically that is not what I think comes out when I see a Justice card come out. It's not usually about any sort of control. So we've got the Five of Chalices. This is like the Five of Cups. There is something driving them, or driving part of their communication, that really just feels like regret for me. It feels like regret. It's about not being able to change the past and feeling like there was a terrible mistake in the way something was handled. So this could be something between the two of you, but I feel like it's harkening back to something beyond that. Okay, so it's harkening back to something beyond just, and I don't mean just as if it is inconsequential, but not only the ending between the two of you, it has to do with them feeling like their hands are tied, partially by what's happening in the rest of their environment. But it doesn't come out very well. This is why the apology gets botched, They are so wound up when they come to communicate with you that it's it's a little bit difficult for you to watch. You're almost like stressed out on their behalf. They make some commitments, but they're not real. They're half-hearted commitments, and there isn't much bite behind them. So be aware of that. This is that sort of, again, we have the feeling of some of those narcissistic tendencies and behaviors coming out, even though I readily acknowledge not everyone's person is going to be a narcissist, and I certainly wouldn't be in the business of diagnosing that anyway. But there is something here where they kind of throw caution to the wind and decide to tell you, yeah, I'll call you every Tuesday, or, it's not that, but it's something that where they decide that they're going to be very consistent and that they're turning over a new leaf. They're going to do something different. I don't know in this energy if I would hold very much hope for that, because there isn't much steam behind it and it isn't very well thought out. This is more of that feeling of things not being very well thought out with them, because we've seen that coming out in several of the readings in the past, where honestly just the part where they reach out to you, we find feels like it's not especially well thought out. And in this case, we see a little bit more of that kind of energy coming out here, where, yeah, it does feel like they kind of just jump into this communication with you. It feels like this is the part where it's more of a jumping into something where maybe they should have thought it through a little bit more. But they make some sort of commitment, or they make some sort of, like, I don't know that it's a promise. I don't want to use the word promise. But they're not ready. They're not ready to move forward in the ways that they think they are. they throw themselves at you because they do feel like they're ready, and they're like, honestly, they just make a snap decision. There's this tendency to kind of make a rash snap decision and not be ready for it because they don't have the healing done. So with the Nine of Wands here, this is about that resistance, but it's also about like um, the emotional wounds. It's the emotionally wounded warrior. So this is someone who's still standing but not healed. They've got a lot of healing that still needs to take place here. The way that they kind of manage this is to work through controlling it. So we've got the Emperor and the Empress here, both in the reverse with regard to your person. And what it comes down to is, remember that everyone has that masculine and that feminine energy. Um, it's something that has to be balanced within you. Both your balance, you need to have your masculine and your feminine energy balanced. Your ability to provide for yourself, and of course that takes many forms. Your ability to nurture yourself, and of course that takes many forms. Here is a situation where there's a need for that sort of balance, and it is especially hard to come by in this energy. I would say, yeah, that's how I would describe it. It's very hard to come by in this energy. Not necessarily something that can't be accomplished, just feels like it's very difficult to accomplish in this energy. Um, which does not surprise me. One of the reasons that we pull that energetic and emotional backdrop is because it helps to be able to look at it. And if things look a little bit, difficult or wonky over here, you can say, this does or does not make sense with the rest of what happened over here. So here we have the Knave of Wands, a tendency, and I have to acknowledge that this one came out sideways. I'm just going to leave it that way. It is a tendency to kind of want to move forward, but also a tendency to have a little bit of a stutter step or a hiccup or there's something here that doesn't quite move quickly and smoothly in the forward direction, and it's of course because they're not ready, but you're going to notice it. I think we'll see what happens when we get to the part where we talk about you, but I feel like this has to do with or the success that you have coming from this situation, and how much of the misunderstanding that you're able to resolve while you're in the situation has everything to do with the way that you respond to it, because of the pedestal that they put you up on. Okay. So they put you up on this pedestal that honestly, if you lead the way in a way that makes it seem like the two of you deserve happiness, they are going to reflect that. That's going to be what enables them. So you hold the key to them being able to let go of this thing that will actually enable them to move forward. This communication, one of the things that we've been seeing, we're going to put this, where one of the things that we've been seeing since January is that there's this important communication that's coming for you, for the two of you, prone to miscommunications. They're coming into it in a way that makes them even more likely prone to miscommunications, but everything you can do to kind of mitigate that during the course of the conversation is going to be better for you. Okay. But here we see one of the reasons that it is such an important conversation is that it's going to unlock some things for them. They are not ready as they come to you, but one of the reasons they still have to kind of have this moment of truth and come your direction is because it helps to unlock things. Even if they don't make it as far as hitting send, it helps for them to unlock things. I think if they don't hit send, it's probably going to take them a little bit longer, but it still moves them in the direction of this lesson that they need to learn. Let's learn a little bit more about that. Like what happens, what is getting unlocked for them? Because remember, we learned in yesterday's extended that it is something that kind of they have to let go of. That's what has to happen. You are unlocking the ability for them to let go of that. That's basically what's happening here. So let's jump into you. Before we get into that extended and find out kind of what that next step is for them, let's get into what's happening with you. And so what we like to look at here is where you need to focus given what we have had come out on the table for the rest of the reading. What is the area for you to focus on? Okay, so we have the Four of Swords in the reverse. Look for the places that you are not healed. You are going to have opportunity to make some really nice progress on healing. And so This is like, it's almost like, I don't mean to cheapen this, and it not literally or figuratively, but it's like healing is on sale. This is a great time to come. Check it out, see where your healing needs to happen, and come in and just start looking for those insights that want to come to you. Finally, we have a Three of Cups that does not speak about a third party in some sort of negative way. What I will tell you here is that you have some sort of opportunity coming that looks like it's a lot of fun, and not just an opportunity to have fun and maybe blow off a little steam. It is that, but it's also an opportunity to meet somebody that's very important to you. So this could be, if you're looking for a new job, this could be somebody that leads you in that direction. It could be a romantic soulmate. Definitely wouldn't want to rule that out. All I can see from this is that you meet somebody very important. Ooh, what was that? Let's see. So we've got an Eight of Swords in the reverse. When it happens, yes, this is the Eight of Swords in the reverse, the way we actually want to feel it. So we saw the Eight of Swords come out in the reverse earlier, and it kind of was that, still felt a little bit too much like an Eight of Swords in the upright, where there's a lot of overthinking. This is when you get into this situation, and you'll know it because it's coming. When you get into this situation, it seems like your eyes are very open. You're very much open to what's happening in your situation. Allow that to happen. Don't struggle. Just kind of roll with it. There's something very wonderful that you get a lot farther if you roll with it and don't try to hold yourself back. Don't worry about what you have or haven't done so far to prepare yourself for this situation. It's like a job that comes with its own training. So what you need to bring is the stuff that can't be trained. This is the pieces of you that automatically have come as part of just your nature, and then the things that you've learned, that nature and that nurture. But you're going to be prepared for this, so there's nothing to worry about. It also looks like, even though it's the Two of Pentacles and not the Ten of Pentacles, I still get the sense that what is coming your direction. So you have something significant coming your direction, and that's where your focus is going to need to be. As it comes your way, you're encouraged to give yourself over to it, but you're also encouraged to keep in mind here that this is something that isn't going to disrupt your life completely, but it is going to change your life. So we have the Two of Pentacles. You're going to manage the change, the Ten of Pentacles in the reverse. You're going to manage that change in this is like a change in your lifestyle. So it's not like, a little bit of money comes or a little bit of money goes. This is something that is more of a way of life sort of change. And so we'll see that starting to happen, but you manage it gracefully. And so that's where your focus needs to be. You've got something where you're going to be in the thick of it. You're going to be very much focused on the things that are happening in your life right now. And that's going to be a great thing, because ultimately it takes away some of the maybe, I don't want to say obsessive, because not everybody's feeling obsessive, but it takes away some of that extra focus, that maybe energy that you were looking to redirect. You are going to have a place very obviously to do some of that redirection here in this energy. But with the Five of Wands here, it's super obvious. It's not like you're going to have to take a bunch of time to think about what that means. It is going to be evident. And again, all you have to do is give yourself over to it. Don't struggle. Allow yourself to see what's there, observe what's there, take it in, and don't overthink it. There's that sense of not overthinking it. Also, it may cause you to look a little different than the way that you've looked in the past. So egoistically, you may be changing, and it may be more uncomfortable than you think. So we often hear about your person in this context where they want to be seen a certain way. They don't want to be seen as being emotionally out of control at any point. You may see a little bit of yourself in that here. Particularly as you get to a place where you say, and this, I swear this is likely to come out of some of your mouths, I don't know if I even recognize my life anymore. It doesn't seem like a bad thing, but it is a little bit of a kind of nervous laughter. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I don't know that I recognize this anymore. It's not inherently bad. Well, guess what? It's actually just not bad. That's kind of what I get from this. So be aware that there may be some very good things happening here. It may feel like it's happening very quickly, but you're in a great position to be able to kind of manifest what you need to manifest, bring what you need to bring. This is the Strength card that refers to your strengths and your power outweighing your fears. And then you've got this Eight of Cups in the reverse, just kind of a reminder to take notes, pay attention to what's happening to you and how you feel about it, because this is something that's going to impact you later as you're trying to decide where you want to land. So I feel like there's enough changing right here that deciding where you want to land is not necessarily the most important thing that needs to happen for you. But there is a sense that you need to take notes, remember some of what's happening here, because you're going to need it later. Messages coming for you, like downloads, important messages that are going to be very beneficial as you move forward. At some point you went in a hermit's cave, might have been yesterday, and it was about go in there and find that wisdom. This is a delicious time of finding that wisdom for yourself. And here what I'm seeing is definitely, this is like just taking it all in. So as these messages are coming for you, just take it in, enjoy it. You're not going to understand everything. It's okay. Some of it, though, you're going to want to take notes for use later. So just keep that in mind. I don't know if it's literal notes, but it's conceptually that way. A lot of change coming for both of you, but I feel like it's very pleasant, almost pleasant for you. So lots of lessons, but again, they don't hurt like the old lessons did so much, And with this, your person is, you're helping them to let go of something. So we're going to go into the extended and get a feel for that. What is it that you're helping them to let go of? Is this something that's going to maybe lower the walls between you? That's kind of what we're looking at. So the interaction between those two questions especially. So that's what we'll do when we get into the extended. If you are interested in doing that, as I like to tell you, the link is down below in the description for the video, and I will either see you there or I will see you in tomorrow's reading.